असतो मां सद्गमय तमसो मां ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः.
Jai Shri Krishna. The explanation of the Shlokas is not a direct translation nor an in-depth analysis. With humility and respect, our attempt is only to simplify and explain the meaning in a conversational language. The objective is also to inspire independent thinking amongst curious knowledge seekers and beginners in India and beyond. Errors in our understanding or pronunciation, if any, are regretted.
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the holy land of Kurukshetra, eager to fight, what did they do? As the great battle was going to start, King Dhritarashtra, who was the blind father of the Kurus, was in a conversation with Sanjay, his trusted aide. Sanjay, who was blessed with divine powers, even while in a room with Dhritarashtra, could envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra. This is a sacred place of Vedic and historical importance, where the supreme Bhagwan Krishna himself was present. The king was seeking a live commentary on everything that was happening, as he was nervous and doubtful of the outcome of the battle between his sons and the sons of his brother Pandu, who were now gearing up to fight.
कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमान् त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Arjun is overcome with great fear and misery. He feels doubtful and anxious about fulfilling his duty, as he cannot imagine fighting his loved ones, his family members, and dear friends. So, like a trusting student, he surrenders to and seeks guidance from his spiritual guru, Bhagwan Krishna, to help him through this dilemma. This situation comes to all of us when we are torn between doing what is right on one hand and our feelings and emotions for our loved ones on the other. This is the time we all need proper advice from someone we can rely on. Can you imagine having Bhagwan Krishna himself as your spiritual teacher? But why not? The fact that you are listening to this is a proof enough that you can always turn to Krishna himself through the Bhagwad Gita whenever you are anxious in life.
अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासूनगतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ते पंडिताः.
Bhagwan Krishna said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. This is a tough one and very difficult to apply in practical life. When Arjun is overcome by grief with the thought of being in a violent battle with his own family and friends, Bhagwan says that wise and learned people do not cry over anyone, whether living or dead. This shlok will be expanded in further shloks when the invincibility of the Atma, the theory of detachment, and the significance of staying calm and composed shall be talked about.
न त्वेवाहि जातु नासन् न त्वन्नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे व्यमतः परम्.
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Now, this is an extremely powerful shlok, and we should remind ourselves of it every day. Bhagwan Krishna said this to Arjun, that even if his loved ones are killed in the battlefield, they will not really die. It means that there was never a time when Krishna did not exist. Actually, not only Krishna, but all of us. Yes, you, me, your friends, enemies, the plants and the animals of the world too. Everything there is has always existed and shall always exist in whatever form, at whatever place, in whichever time. It is the ultimate truth. We have been and shall always be. Isn't that such a fascinating concept?
देहिनोऽस्मन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनैर्जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. An enlightened person is not bewildered by such a change. As we all know, a baby grows up into a child to adulthood, then middle age, then old age, and then finally dies. Here, the concept of Atma comes into play. It is a Sanskrit word which cannot be translated into English in its entirety. But for the sake of convenience, we can call it soul. The soul leaves one physical body and goes into another, thereby rejuvenating itself. Even if it seems sad and disturbing for those who have lived meaningful lives through their old age, it is a celebration when the soul changes its form. Yes, this too is easier said than done, as most of us are not enlightened enough to accept this constant change, rather the truth of life.
मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः आगमपायिनो नित्या तांस्ते तिक्षस्व भारत.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O descendant of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Krishna explains to Arjun that nothing is permanent and everything is under constant change, including joy and misery. Just like there are changes in the seasons, because of our sense perceptions, we experience times and bouts of sadness and happiness. Can you not feel disturbed through it all? Isn't it just what is perceived through our senses and may not be the truth? Yes, it feels real, but what if there is more to it? Think about it. Additionally, there is an underlying concept of Maya too, which again cannot be justified by the word illusion. It is so much more than that. It is what you see as real, but is not the entire truth. Knowing that, you become more tolerant to pleasure and pain. It does not mean you will not experience it, but throughout such episodes, you remain calm, knowing very well this will pass too.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचन नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. It has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. It is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. Atma or the soul does not take birth or die. As explained before, the body which the soul acquires goes through transformations, but the soul remains intact or as it is. Soul is never born, will never die, shall always be. It has no past, present, or future, and will not get destroyed when the body will no longer remain in this world. Another food for thought: is the body in the soul, or the soul is in the body? Maybe it cannot be explained in physical dimensions of size, but we can all get in touch with it, as this is our true self and goes beyond the limits of our physical body. The soul remains eternal, permanent, and can never be wiped out.
वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णान्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. As explained in the verse 2.13, the body changes from an infant to adolescence to adulthood to middle age to old age, and finally the body dies. However, the soul remains, and just like a person sheds old clothes and wears new garments, the soul does that too by acquiring a new body. In the context of Gita, Krishna is guiding Arjun that even if his dear family members on whichever side get killed, he should not grieve, as this is the battle for dharma. Those who sacrifice themselves would undergo a cleansing process while getting new bodies.
नैनै छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः.
The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor dried by the wind. The soul is beyond the realms of the physical world and cannot be harmed by weapons. Nor fire can burn it, nor water can make it wet, nor it can be dried up by the wind. Just imagine the integrity or invincibility of the soul. Just imagine that soul is the real you, not your body, but something much deeper, sacrosanct, something that no one can touch. How does it make you feel? Indestructible, isn't it? Powerful too. But as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. We'll explore in further shlokas.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवै जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्यर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Birth and death are parts of life. One who has taken birth will surely die, we all know. But we should always remember, one who dies gets born again. This is the birth and life cycle that keeps on going unless we become liberated, rather attain moksha or become one with God. The battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of the Supreme, was an inevitable event, and to fight for the right cause was and is the duty of a warrior or a Kshatriya. Why should Arjun have been afraid or sad at the prospect of death of his relatives, since he was simply discharging his duty? Remember, we are not supposed to indulge in non-violence or war pointlessly, but at the same time to keep law and order in societies and for the protection of civilizations and nations, some amount of violence becomes unavoidable.
देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयन् देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
O descendant of Bharat, he who dwells in the body can never be killed. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. This is extremely interesting and again reinforces what we have learnt earlier. The soul is your true self, which resides in the physical body and can never be killed. It is immortal and permanent, while the body is obviously temporary. This is being said to Arjun in the battlefield to educate him of the eternal truth, as it is human nature, rather limitation, to not see the full picture. So imagine if you let anxieties and fear take over the call of duty, then you can never do the right thing, whether you are in your own battlefield or facing any dilemma in life.
नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्.
In this path, there is no loss of effort, nor is there any fear of contrary result. Even a little advancement or practice on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. In the path of Krishna consciousness, even a bit of practice or experience, you will be fearless. Your efforts, howsoever minuscule, will not go wasted. In other words, it's the intentions that matter the most and can make you feel confident in the face of even birth and death.
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिर् एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम्.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Krishna says lovingly to Arjun that those who are determined to follow this path have a single-minded purpose, but those who have wandering and restless minds have many aims. In other words, the path to Krishna consciousness gives one a stable mind and focus to follow one objective, and there is no possibility of getting swayed by those little distractions.
भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते.
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are dazed by such things, the steadfast determination for devotional service to the Supreme Bhagwan does not take place. This is directed towards people who seek excitement and fun in life. They are not committed to the eternal truth and will not be able to concentrate their efforts and energies on devotion to God. Friends, it is also mentioned in the Gita that one must not be manipulated by those who recommend certain kinds of practices and rituals to attain heaven. Heaven is not the ultimate aim, rather being one with the Paramatma is. Even if you don't get it now, you will once you go deeper. So have patience.
त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjun, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety. Be established in the self. The Vedas deal with the three gunas, which we will cover in later chapters. For now, it is important to note that we need to rise above the worldly enjoyments and the means to attain them. We have to learn to tolerate dualities such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth, and thus become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. Maybe this aspect of duality has been touched upon so many times as we need to accept that life can be both bitter and sweet. We need to be rooted, stable, and try to focus on the divinity of Krishna consciousness.
यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who has the ultimate knowledge of the Brahmagyan and knows the essence. As you know, in this Kali Yuga, it is not possible for most of us to be able to study all the Vedas and the holy scriptures, even the highly dedicated ones. The essence of the Vedas is in the Gita itself. The essence of Gita is Krishna himself. Just like you need just a glass of water to quench your thirst, you can attain the principle of this wisdom just by chanting the name of Shri Krishna and rejoicing in the surreal experience. Try it and you will never look back.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते.
Though the embodied soul or person may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But such yearnings stop by experiencing a higher taste for one who is fixed in consciousness. Most of us who have not yet reached transcendental state need to follow certain restrictions in our daily activities, especially the food habits, to be able to discipline our bodies and its cravings. However, someone who has tasted the sacred divinity of Krishna and this knowledge has no more cravings left in him.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते.
While focusing the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. In this material world, no one can totally escape the desire for objects that satisfy the senses. When we think of them, chase them, we become attached to them, and attachment leads to lust, and from lust we go further into developing anger if we are unable to possess them. Detachment is a concept greatly touched in Gita, and it is recommended to be unattached. Does it mean you are not allowed to feel deeply or love your friends and family? Is it even possible? No, it means having an objective, balanced, and relaxed mind in all situations and not getting carried away. If you let your senses control you, it would surely happen, isn't it?
क्रोधाद् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down into the material pool. Being agitated is not recommended in Gita. When angry, a person becomes deluded and is not steady enough to see things clearly. He loses his memory, then intelligence, and finally he falls, not literally, but falls down from grace and loses respect. People who become agitated start talking nonsense, isn't it? They end up having anger management issues too. In the present times, it is very difficult for most of us to remain calm and composed, but we can all be more mindful and aware when we are frustrated or having those angry episodes. That's when we need to stop ourselves from saying hurtful words to others and even to ourselves.
रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति.
But a person free from all attachment or aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain divine prasad. A person who regulates or controls his desires through self-discipline can attain prasad from Bhagwan Krishna. It is up to you what is prasad or reward means to you, which can be in the form of mercy, compassion, or even peace of mind. Also note, the Gita offers the eternal truth, but still it depends on the situation.
या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जाग्रति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः.
What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. As we all know, there are all types of people in the world. Here, it specifically talks about two kinds: those who are involved in self-realization through introspection, and the rest of beings who are leading regular lives. It doesn't really point towards being awake through the night, doing sadhana or meditation when the world sleeps, but the shlok just shows the contrast between enlightened souls and ordinary people, irrespective of when exactly they do their daily activities. Which one is you? Remember, even if you can't be everything you want to be, you can be what you are, pure, divine, and loved by Krishna without fear of any judgments. And with this, we end the selected shlokas from chapter 1 and 2, referred mainly from the Bhagwad Gita as it is. Please bear in mind that certain concepts and theories are beyond the intellect of human beings and there are no right words to explain them fully, especially in English. The deeper you go into the study of Gita, the more depth and clarity you will achieve in your understanding. Sanskrit is the most powerful language in the world that has gone closest to expressing this philosophy. However, there will be a moment that deep inside you something will click and you would just know. Then you won't even need words. Jai Shri Krishna.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्